If you're over 60 and experiencing burning feet, numb toes, electric shock sensations, tingling, or balance problems, these are not merely strange or unavoidable signs of aging. They stem from a biological environment within your body that has gradually shifted over many years. Most people are told that peripheral neuropathy means the nerves simply wear out with age, like an old machine slowly breaking down. Some hear it's genetic, and that little can be done. The common message, whether stated directly or implied, is that the most you can hope for is to manage the pain while preparing for gradual worsening. What is rarely explained well is that nerves do not fail randomly or without cause. They respond directly to the chemical conditions, blood supply, and daily metabolic signals around them. When that internal environment becomes hostile, nerves struggle and begin to falter. When it improves, many nerves can hold on to or even regain more function than most people expect. Peripheral neuropathy is not one disease, it is a pattern of nerve damage. It describes what happens when the peripheral nerves, the long pathways connecting the brain and spinal cord to the rest of the body, start to malfunction. These nerves carry signals for sensation, movement, balance, temperature, and pain. Because they are very long and require substantial energy, they are especially vulnerable to issues like unstable blood sugar, poor circulation, chronic inflammation, and nutrient shortages. That's why symptoms typically appear first in the feet and hands, the points farthest from the heart and most reliant on tiny blood vessels. A crucial fact is that nerve damage accumulates quietly for a long time before symptoms become noticeable. For years, sometimes decades, nerves endure ongoing metabolic stress without obvious warnings. During this silent phase, damage progresses. Proteins in the nerve fibers become distorted, blood vessels stiffen, the protective coating thins, and electrical signals slow or become imprecise. The nervous system compensates for a while, masking these early changes. By the time burning pain, numbness, or instability appears, the damage is already considerable. This long delay is why neuropathy often feels sudden and deeply unfair, even though it built up slowly. In many cases, a major culprit is a group of compounds known as advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These form when glucose permanently attaches to proteins and fats throughout the body. The attachment is not harmless. It changes the structure and function of those tissues. Once created, AGEs are difficult to remove and continue to build up over the years. They particularly harm tissues that need flexibility, accurate signaling, and strong microcirculation, making peripheral nerves a prime target. To see why AGEs cause so much harm, consider the molecular level. Glucose is essential for energy, but it is also chemically reactive. When blood sugar remains elevated for extended periods, glucose interacts more frequently with proteins. Over time, under certain conditions, this leads to permanent, rigid, sticky crosslinks between molecules. It's similar to how sugar hardens and caramelizes when heated. In the body, the process occurs slowly and steadily when glucose control is poor. The result is tissue that loses elasticity, functions less efficiently, and becomes more prone to inflammation. In peripheral nerves, AGEs cause damage in three main ways at once. First, they alter the nerve fibers themselves, interfering with the proteins needed for proper electrical impulse transmission. Second, they damage the myelin sheath, the fatty insulating layer that enables fast, reliable signal conduction. When myelin is harmed, signals slow, weaken, or distort. Third, AGEs injure the small blood vessels that deliver oxygen and nutrients to the nerves. These tiny capillaries are vital for nerve survival. When they stiffen or narrow, nerves become undernourished and steadily weaker. This triple attack explains the wide range of symptoms: burning pain from irritated, overfiring nerve fibers, numbness from missing or lost signals, tingling or pins and needles from irregular firing, weakness from disrupted muscle commands, and balance issues from unreliable sensory input to the brain. The specific combination and severity differ by individual, but the underlying mechanism is often similar. One commonly overlooked detail is that fasting blood sugar tests provide only a limited picture. Many people with neuropathy are told their glucose is normal because fasting levels fall within standard ranges. Yet fasting reflects only the daily low point. It misses the damaging highs. The greatest risk for age formation occurs after meals, when blood sugar spikes sharply and may stay elevated for hours. These repeated post-meal surges are a primary driver of long-term nerve damage. As we age, the body becomes less efficient at clearing glucose from the blood. Muscle mass naturally declines, insulin sensitivity decreases, and sugar lingers longer after eating. This does not mean aging directly causes neuropathy. It means aging reduces metabolic resilience. When combined with common modern habits, such as frequent snacking, late night eating, and processed foods, it creates ideal conditions for ages to accumulate. Vitamin B12 plays another essential role. It supports the myelin sheath, helps with DNA synthesis in nerve cells, and assists in clearing harmful byproducts. B12 absorption often declines with age and is further reduced by common medications like acid blockers and metformin. Low B12 removes a key protective factor for nerves, allowing damage to advance instead of being repaired. Standard blood tests can overlook functional B12 deficiency. Levels may appear normal, yet still be insufficient for what nerves actually need. This discrepancy leaves many people vulnerable for years without realizing it. By the time clear symptoms emerge, the deficiency may have been present for a long time. Dietary ages are another often ignored factor. Ages form inside the body, but they are also absorbed directly from food. High heat cooking methods, grilling, frying, roasting, browning, generate large amounts of pre-formed ages. These enter the body and add to the overall load. Even with good blood sugar control, certain cooking habits can accelerate tissue damage significantly. Switching to gentler, lower heat methods can greatly reduce this burden. Once damage starts, inflammation makes everything worse. Ages trigger immune responses that keep nerves irritated and inflamed. This explains why symptoms frequently worsen at night, when circulation naturally slows and inflammation lingers. It also illustrates how neuropathy disrupts sleep, creating a vicious cycle. Poor sleep increases insulin resistance, stress hormones, and sugar spikes, producing more ages and inflammation, which further impairs sleep. Physical movement is one of the most powerful ways to interrupt this cycle. Muscles naturally pull glucose from the blood after meals. Even short, gentle walks can substantially lower post-meal sugar levels. The advantage is not primarily about weight loss or intense exercise. It's about improved metabolic control. Regular activity reduces the raw material for age formation and enhances blood flow to nerves. Maintaining muscle strength matters too. Muscle loss impairs glucose uptake. Light resistance exercises help preserve muscle mass, support metabolism, and indirectly protect nerves. These benefits often go unnoticed because they develop slowly, not overnight. Hydration supports healthy circulation and helps clear metabolic waste. Dehydration thickens blood, reduces flow in microvessels, and concentrates glucose. Many older adults drink less over time without noticing, quietly increasing nerve risk. Consistent, adequate water intake strengthens vessel health with little effort. Stress affects neuropathy through hormonal pathways. Chronic stress raises cortisol, which elevates blood sugar and promotes insulin resistance. Stress by itself does not cause neuropathy, but it worsens the metabolic conditions that damage nerves. Simple stress reduction techniques can ease this load and improve stability. One of the most damaging misconceptions about peripheral neuropathy is that progression is inevitable and nothing can change it. This belief discourages action and promotes passive acceptance of decline. While severely damaged nerves may not fully recover, many partially affected ones can stabilize and perform better in a more supportive environment. People often report reduced pain, better balance, improved sleep, and higher quality of life once new damage slows or stops. The realistic goal is not perfection, it's protection. Every period of stable blood sugar gives nerves a break from chemical stress. Each better night's sleep supports repair. Each reduction in inflammation improves signaling. Over months and years, these small gains add up, just as the earlier losses did. Peripheral neuropathy is not merely a nerve problem. It is a metabolic condition that shows up first and most noticeably in the nerves. Viewing it this way changes everything, from an inevitable fate to something you can meaningfully influence. The focus shifts from symptom management alone to also addressing root causes. This provides no false miracles, but something more dependable, real control over the process. And that control makes a genuine difference. When people understand that peripheral neuropathy arises from prolonged metabolic stress rather than sudden nerve failure, another insight often emerges. The nervous system does not function in isolation. It interacts constantly with other systems. Blood vessels, muscles, hormones, the immune system, and the gut all affect whether nerves remain resilient or gradually decline. This interconnectedness explains why neuropathy seldom occurs alone. It usually appears alongside fatigue, sleep disturbances, digestive changes, balance issues, or mild brain fog. These are not separate problems. They are different expressions of the same underlying imbalance. A commonly missed contributor is persistently elevated blood sugar after meals that does not yet meet the criteria for diabetes. Many people spend years in this in-between state, where glucose surges and lingers after eating, yet standard tests show normal. During this time, ages build up silently. Without a formal diagnosis, people assume nothing serious is overlooked. But neuropathy does not require a label to develop. Nerves respond to their chemical environment, not to diagnostic cutoffs. Glucose clearance relies heavily on muscle tissue. After meals, insulin signals muscles to take up and store sugar. When muscle mass decreases, this process weakens. Glucose stays in the blood longer, extending the time for glycation. This connection explains why neuropathy risk increases with age, even without weight gain. Even lean, apparently healthy individuals may have lost considerable muscle, especially without regular strength training. This muscle glucose link also shows why physical activity provides strong nerve protection, even without major diet overhauls. Regular short walks after meals reduce the height and duration of spikes. Over months and years, this leads to fewer ages, less inflammation, and better circulation. The benefit starts small but becomes substantial. It addresses the root more directly than approaches focused only on symptoms. The vascular system is central as well. Nerves depend on a delicate network of small blood vessels that are highly sensitive to glycation and oxidative damage. Ages stiffen vessel walls, reduce nitric oxide, and impair dilation. This results in chronic mild underoxygenation, particularly in longer nerves. Feet are affected first, not because they are inherently weak, but because they are farthest from the main supply. This vascular factor explains why symptoms often worsen in cold weather or at night, when flow naturally decreases. It also accounts for why a history of smoking increases risk. Vascular damage persists and compounds metabolic injury. Inflammation runs through the entire process. Ages activate receptors that trigger ongoing inflammatory cascades. These increase oxidative stress, impair nerve cell energy production, and worsen insulin resistance. Inflammation both results from damage and drives more of it. This self-reinforcing cycle explains why neuropathy can accelerate after symptoms begin, even without major lifestyle changes. Sleep serves as a vital repair period. During deep sleep, inflammation decreases, insulin sensitivity improves, and growth factors support nerve maintenance. When neuropathy disrupts sleep, it shortens this recovery time. Over time, poor sleep weakens metabolic control and speeds damage. This two-way relationship means even modest sleep improvements can produce real benefits. Late-night eating is especially damaging in this context. Consuming food close to bedtime raises blood sugar when insulin sensitivity is already reduced. This prolongs hyperglycemia and interferes with overnight repair. Simply shifting the last meal earlier can improve sleep quickly and gradually ease neuropathy symptoms. No new foods or medications required, just timing that better matches the body's natural rhythms. Gut health also affects nerve function. The gut handles nutrient absorption, regulates immunity, and influences inflammation. Poor digestion or chronic irritation can reduce absorption of B vitamins, magnesium, and other key nutrients. It can also promote systemic inflammation. Gut problems rarely cause neuropathy on their own, but they increase risk and slow recovery. Supporting gut function improves the overall nerve environment. Emotional and psychological factors deserve attention too. Ongoing pain, worry about progression, and fear can lead to anxiety or depression. These disrupt sleep, raise stress hormones, and reduce motivation for self-care. This creates another reinforcing cycle, psychological in nature but strongly physical in impact. Breaking it requires self-compassion, support, and realistic expectations, not self-blame. Not all neuropathy is metabolic. Autoimmune diseases, infections, toxins, chemotherapy, and genetic factors can also damage nerves. However, even in those cases, metabolic health significantly influences severity and progression. Stabilizing blood sugar, reducing inflammation, and improving circulation support nerves no matter the primary cause. This makes metabolic strategies foundational in almost every situation. When people begin making adjustments to improve the metabolic environment, improvements often arrive quietly and gradually. Pain lessens a bit, sleep becomes more refreshing, balance improves. Some sensation may partially return in certain areas. These changes can be easy to overlook if expecting dramatic reversals, but they are significant. They show that new damage is slowing and that surviving nerves are functioning better. Track progress over weeks and months, not days. Nerve recovery is slow. Metabolic improvements take time to become evident. Normal fluctuations happen. A difficult day or week does not erase overall progress. Focusing on longer-term trends gives the most accurate and encouraging perspective. In advanced neuropathy, the main goal is preserving what function remains. Stopping further loss can transform daily life. Reduced pain, better sleep, and increased stability promote independence. These gains matter enormously, even without complete sensation returning. Medical care remains essential. Sudden or rapidly worsening symptoms require evaluation to rule out other causes. Do not stop prescribed symptom relief medications without consulting your doctor. Lifestyle changes complement professional treatment. They do not replace it. Current research is increasingly viewing neuropathy in a new light. What was once seen as inevitable aging is now recognized as modifiable, influenced by lifestyle, metabolism, and overall health. Complete reversal is not realistic for everyone, but many people have far more influence over their condition's trajectory than previously thought. The most important change is in perspective. Neuropathy does not simply happen, it develops in a particular internal environment. Alter that environment and you alter the outcome, not quickly or perfectly, but meaningfully. Effective long-term management of neuropathy relies more on consistent small habits than on dramatic changes. Nerves respond to daily repeated patterns, not occasional bursts of perfection. One good week followed by a long lapse achieves little. Modest positive actions, sustained over months and years, can redirect the path of decline. It may feel slow in a world that expects fast results, but it matches how nerves adapt and persist. Aging brings natural changes that increase the likelihood of neuropathy. Insulin sensitivity declines, cellular energy production becomes less efficient, and low-grade inflammation rises. These happen even in people who maintain good weight and appearance. They are gradual and easy to miss until symptoms appear. Recognizing them reframes neuropathy as the slow buildup of small imbalances over decades. Aging also weakens the connections between nerves and muscles. Motor nerves gradually pull back from muscle fibers, leaving some underinnervated. Surviving nerves compensate, but there are limits. Over time, movement precision decreases, balance weakens, and signaling fades. This raises fall risk and reduces activity, which accelerates muscle loss and metabolic problems. Foot care becomes increasingly important as neuropathy advances. Reduced sensation greatly increases the risk of unnoticed injuries, ulcers, or infections. Daily foot inspections are essential. Wearing proper shoes, moisturizing skin, and watching for calluses or nail changes help prevent serious complications. Many severe outcomes in neuropathy result not only from nerve damage, but from preventable foot issues that go undetected. Chronic pain changes how the brain processes signals. Sensory, emotional, and attention areas can become hypersensitive. This central sensitization amplifies pain and reduces tolerance. Neuropathy management therefore includes calming the central nervous system. Simple practices like slow breathing, mindfulness, or gentle movement can reduce symptom intensity even with peripheral damage present. Certain key nutrients support nerve health and deserve attention. B12 deficiency can mimic or worsen symptoms. Magnesium helps with signaling and relaxation. Supplements should be guided by testing and medical advice, but correcting reversible deficiencies can make a meaningful difference. Hydration affects blood thickness and flow. Mild chronic dehydration restricts microcirculation and oxygen delivery to nerves. The sense of thirst often weakens with age, increasing risk. Steady fluid intake supports circulation. Social connections provide unexpected benefits. Loneliness increases stress, disrupts sleep, and reduces motivation for self-care. Maintaining relationships with family, friends, or community strengthens emotional health and indirectly supports physical outcomes. Shared activities often feel easier and more sustainable, adding metabolic advantages. Fear of worsening can quietly limit choices. Some people avoid movement to prevent pain or falls, but this speeds decline. Replace fear with informed, gentle action. Adapted exercise is safer than inactivity. Nerves benefit from appropriate use. Inactivity signals lower priority for repair. Routine medical appointments for chronic conditions can feel rushed. Preparing with clear notes on symptoms, recent changes, and specific questions improves discussions. Self-advocacy enhances care. It is not confrontation. It's essential for effective management. Caregivers need support as well. Watching a loved one deal with ongoing discomfort is difficult. Understanding that progress is uneven and ups and downs are normal helps set realistic expectations. Supporting caregivers ultimately benefits the person with neuropathy. Over time, consistent positive choices produce noticeable effects. Those who prioritize metabolic stability, movement, sleep, and emotional well-being often see slower progression and fewer complications. Symptoms may remain but become more manageable. Life stays active and meaningful rather than increasingly restricted. The most powerful idea: neuropathy is something you have, not who you are. You remain a person with history, relationships, abilities, and hopes. This perspective prevents the condition from taking more of your life than necessary. B vitamin status deserves early attention. Regular monitoring of B12, folate, and B6, especially after age 50 or with medications like metformin or acid suppressors, can catch deficiencies before significant nerve harm occurs. Early corrections, through diet, sublingual forms, or injections if needed, help preserve myelin and nerve resilience. Hydration, sleep, and stress management form the foundation of prevention. Daily water intake keeps blood thin and microcirculation strong. Consistent quality sleep protects the nightly repair period when inflammation decreases and insulin sensitivity improves. Simple stress practices, deep breathing, short walks, time in nature help control prolonged cortisol that drives higher glucose and resistance. For families, prevention benefits everyone. Many habits that protect nerves also reduce risks of heart disease, cognitive decline, type 2 diabetes, and other age-related issues. When older family members demonstrate earlier meals, regular movement, gentler cooking, and nutrient focus, younger ones often adopt them naturally. Children and grandchildren learn that metabolic health is built daily, not lost suddenly later in life. Conversations about neuropathy can shift from frightening, "Don't let this happen," to encouraging, "Here's what I wish I'd started sooner." Sharing simple changes, like family walks after dinner or milder cooking methods, makes prevention feel achievable, not overwhelming. Screening matters. Regular checks of fasting glucose, HbA1c, and post-meal levels when possible can detect early metabolic shifts. Even within normal ranges, gradual increases can prompt adjustments before permanent damage occurs. Asking about B12 and other nerve-supporting nutrients during routine visits is another straightforward step. A key preventive mindset is curiosity rather than resignation. Instead of assuming nerves fail with age, curious individuals make protective choices. They pay attention to how foods, late eating, and habits affect energy, sleep, and subtle sensations in the feet. That awareness guides improvements before symptoms force the issue. Prevention is not perfect or a guarantee of zero decline. It is about accumulating small protective factors year after year to significantly flatten the downward slope. Someone in their 70s or 80s with only mild occasional tingling, good balance, and decent sensation has usually followed these habits quietly for decades. Not extremes, but steady consistency. This information is not secret or overly complicated. It draws from decades of research on metabolism, glycation, inflammation, nerve function, and aging. What is often missing is a clear, practical explanation of the connections, especially for those over 60 who are facing symptoms or supporting loved ones. Peripheral neuropathy does not have to be a mysterious, unstoppable sentence. It is a signal, a delayed warning that the internal environment has strayed too far from balance for too long. The hopeful truth: the same environment that permitted damage can usually be gently guided toward conditions that slow harm, stabilize function, and sometimes partially restore it. You do not need to reverse decades overnight. Simply stop adding to the problem now and keep going tomorrow and the next day. Each hour of balanced blood sugar, each gentle walk, each better night of sleep, each step to reduce inflammation is a small vote for nerve preservation. Over months and years, those votes add up. They do not erase all past damage, but they rewrite the future, from expected worsening to managed stability, from resignation to realistic hope, from powerlessness to genuine agency. That shift in understanding, from nothing can be done to I can influence a great deal, is where meaningful, lasting change begins.